The sound of the deadbolt sliding into place was the loudest thing I had ever heard. My son Marcus stood on the other side of that door, breathing heavy, while I stood in the hallway surrounded by my clothes. Dresses, shoes, coats, everything scattered on the floor like trash. Like I was trash. Before we continue, thank you for watching Granny's narrative. Please subscribe and tell us where you are watching from in the comment. Get out. Those were the last words he said before slamming the door in my face. Not mom, not mother, just get out. Like I was a stranger. Like I was nothing. Inside the apartment, I could hear my daughter-in-law Rita moving through the rooms. She was going through my things, taking what she wanted, claiming what was never hers. Her heels clicked on the hardwood floor with confidence. With victory. My hands shook as I bent down to pick up a blouse. It was the blue one my husband bought me before he died. I held it against my chest and felt my heart breaking into pieces so small I did not think they could ever be put back together. 2 hours. That is all it took for my life to fall apart completely. 2 hours ago I was living in what I thought was my home with what I thought was my family. Now I was homeless. Thrown out by my own flesh and blood. I gathered what I could carry and left. I did not cry. Not yet. I walked down those stairs with my head up because I refused to let them see me break. I refused to give Rita that satisfaction. But as I stepped onto the street, my phone buzzed. It was not for me. It was the beginning of their nightmare. Because what Marcus and Rita did not know, what they never bothered to find out, was that I had been 3 steps ahead of them this whole time. And now they were about to pay for every insult, every cruel word, every moment they made me feel worthless. Let me tell you how it started. Let me tell you how I ended up here. Let me tell you how my own son became my worst enemy and how I made sure he would regret it for the rest of his life. 4 years ago my world was different. My husband Robert and I lived in a beautiful apartment downtown. We had worked our whole lives for that place. Every payment, every sacrifice, it was all worth it because we had built something together. Home. Life. Then Robert got sick. Cancer. Moved fast. One day he was fine, the next he was in the hospital. 6 months later he was gone. Just like that. The man I had loved for 35 years was gone and I was alone. The apartment felt like a tomb. Every corner reminded me of him. His chair by the window where he read the newspaper every morning. His coffee cup still in the cabinet. His shoes by the door. I could not move them. I could not touch them. Some days I just sat in his chair and cried until I had no tears left. I stopped eating. I stopped caring. I stopped living. I was just existing, wandering through the rooms like a ghost, waiting for something to change. That is when Marcus called. His voice was so sweet, so caring. Mom, he said, you cannot live like this. You cannot stay in that apartment alone with all those memories. Come live with us. Rita and I have been talking and we want you here. We have space. We can take care of you. You do not have to be alone anymore. I cried when he said that. I cried because I thought my son was saving me. Thought he loved me. I thought he wanted his mother close. What a fool I was. I started packing immediately. I sold furniture I did not need. Donated clothes. I put Robert's things in boxes and stored them. Marcus came to help me move on a Saturday. He drove a rental truck. He hugged me before we left. Everything is going to be okay, Mom, he said. You are going to be happy with us. I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. The first 3 months were good. Rita cooked and I helped her in the kitchen. Marcus came home from work and we ate dinner together like a real family. They asked about my day. I told them about the park I discovered nearby, about the book I was reading, about the neighbors I met. I felt useful again. I felt wanted. I felt like I mattered. But it did not last. Rita started changing first. The smiles stopped. The conversations became shorter. Then came the comments. Small ones at first. Did you leave the lights on again? The electric bill is crazy high. Or when I was cooking, maybe use less salt, my blood pressure cannot handle it. When I cleaned, she would check behind me and sigh. If you cannot do it right, just leave it. I tried to ignore it. I told myself she was stressed. Maybe work was hard. Maybe she had problems I did not know about. But the comments got worse. They got sharper. They started to cut deeper. Marcus changed too. He stopped hugging me when he got home. He stopped asking how I was. During dinner, he stared at his phone while I talked. It was like I was invisible, like my words meant nothing. One night I tried to tell him about pain in my back. He did not even look up. "Ah," he said. That was it. Rita smiled when she heard that. A cold smile that made my blood freeze. Then I heard them talking. I did not mean to listen, but their bedroom door was open just a crack, and their voices carried into the kitchen. I was washing dishes when I heard Rita say, "I cannot take this anymore, Marcus. She's always here. Always in the way. Always asking questions. This is not what we agreed to." Marcus sighed. "I know, babe. But she is my mother. What do you want me to do?" "Send her away," Rita said. "Send her to a home. Send her anywhere. I do not care. But she cannot stay here." The plate in my hand slipped. Crashed into the sink. I held my breath. Waited. No one came to check. No one asked if I was okay. They just kept talking like I was not there. Like I did not matter. I went to my room. Closed the door. I sat on the bed and I cried. I cried for the son I thought I had. I cried for the family that never was. I cried for myself for being so stupid, so blind. After that night, everything got worse. Rita stopped pretending. She ignored me completely. She walked past me like I was furniture. When I turned on the TV, she changed the channel without asking. When I opened the fridge, she sighed loud enough for me to hear. One day I made soup for dinner. It was Marcus's favorite when he was a kid. I made it special, hoping he would remember. Hoping he would smile. But when he tasted it, he pushed the bowl away. "Too salty, Mum. Cannot eat this." Rita smiled. They ordered takeout right in front of me. They ate pizza while I sat there with my bowl of soup that no one wanted. I felt something break inside me that night. Something that could not be fixed. The insult started soon after. Rita would tell Marcus, loud enough for me to hear, that old people lose their minds. That they become clumsy. That they are burdens. Marcus would laugh. He never defended me. Not once. Then Rita started talking to me directly. One day I tripped over a box in the hall. She was right there watching. "Watch where you are going, you useless old woman," she said. "You are going to hurt yourself and then we will have to take care of you like a baby." I wanted to cry, but I did not. Not in front of her. I would not give her the satisfaction. Marcus started coming home late. Very late. Some nights he did not come home for dinner at all. When I asked if he was okay, he snapped at me. "I am tired, Mom. I do not want to talk." Rita was always nearby, watching, smiling. She had changed him. She had turned my son into someone I did not recognize. Someone who hated me. One afternoon I found my photos in a box by the trash. Photos of Robert. Photos of Marcus as a baby. Photos of our family. I pulled them out with shaking hands. I found Rita in the living room. "Why are these in the trash?" I asked. She did not even turn to look at me. "They were in the way," she said. "This is not a museum. If you want to keep junk, keep it in your room." I took the photos to my room. I put them in my suitcase. The same suitcase I brought when I first moved in. The one I never fully unpacked. Like part of me knew this would not last. The weeks passed. The tension grew. I tried to make myself invisible. I started taking long walks. I would sit in the park for hours watching people, watching birds, watching anything that was not Marcus and Rita. Sometimes I stayed out until dark. Anything to avoid going back to that apartment. But I always had to go back. I had nowhere else to go. Or so they thought. One Saturday morning, Rita walked into my room without knocking. I was reading on the bed. She stood in the doorway with her arms crossed. "I need you to clear out the hall closet," she said. "We are using it for our things." "What things?" I asked. "That is none of your business," she snapped. "Just clear it out today." Got up slowly. I went to the closet. Inside were my coats, my scarves, my winter boots. I took them out one by one. Rita watched me with that cold smile. "Hurry up," she said. "I do not have all day." That night they argued. I heard them through the thin walls. I cannot do this anymore, Rita screamed. You have to choose. Me. Give it time, babe, Marcus said. We will find a solution. What solution? Send her to a home. Find her a room somewhere. I do not care. But she has to leave. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. And I made a decision. I was not going to wait for them to throw me out like garbage. I was not going to beg for love where there was none. But I was not going to just leave either. I had a plan. I had always had a plan. I was just waiting for the right moment. And that moment was coming. The next morning Rita cornered me in the kitchen. We need to talk, she said. Marcus agrees. This is not working. You need to find another place. We will help you with some money at first, but you cannot stay here. I looked her in the eyes. What does Marcus say? Yes. He says the same thing, Rita said with a smile. He just does not have the guts to tell you himself. But I do. So start looking. You have 2 weeks. I nodded slowly. Okay, I said. She looked surprised. Just like that. Just like that, I replied. I turned and walked away. My heart was pounding, but my mind was clear. Crystal clear. I knew what I had to do. I just needed to wait a little longer. They had no idea what was coming. 3 days passed. 3 days of Rita looking at me with that triumphant smile. 3 days of Marcus avoiding my eyes. He knew. He knew they were kicking me out, and he said nothing. Did nothing. That hurt more than anything else. The silence from my own son was a knife that kept twisting deeper and deeper. Kept my routine. I woke up early. I made coffee. I went for walks. Came back. I read in my room. I ate simple meals. I went to bed. But inside everything had changed. I was not the same broken woman anymore. Now there was something cold inside me. Something sharp. Something that had been sleeping for years and was finally waking up. Clarity. The absolute certainty that I would not leave without teaching them a lesson they would never forget. On Thursday afternoon, while they were out, I opened my nightstand drawer. I took out a yellow folder. Inside were all the documents. The documents Marcus never asked to see. The documents Rita assumed did not exist. I ran my fingers over the papers. The titles, bank statements, all in my name, all perfectly legal, all untouchable. Smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. They thought I was a foolish old woman. They thought they could walk all over me. How wrong they were. That night at dinner Rita attacked again. Have you looked for a place yet? She asked. Has been almost a week. Marcus ate in silence, staring at his plate. Yes, I lied. I've been looking at some options. Good, Rita said. Because your time is running out. He nodded. Course. Understand. She smiled, satisfied. Marcus kept eating like nothing was wrong. Like he was not kicking his own mother out. Like I had not given him everything. My whole life. All my love. All my effort. And this was how he repaid me. The next day I went downtown. I went into a small office building. I took the elevator to the 3rd floor. I walked into the law office of David Chen. We had spoken on the phone several times over the past month. Mrs. Hayes, he said, standing up to shake my hand. Are you ready to proceed? He nodded. Do it. Do everything. He smiled. Understood. Everything will be in motion within 48 hours. I left his office feeling more alive than I had in years. There was no turning back now. I had crossed the line. And they still had no idea. Saturday morning Marcus left early. Rita stayed home. I was making tea when she appeared in the kitchen. Today is the day, she said. What day? Yes. The day you give me an answer. When are you leaving? I turned to look at her. Soon, I said calmly. Very soon. That is not an answer, she snapped. Give me a date. I will give you something better than a date, I said. I will give you a surprise. What are you talking about? You will see, I said. Very soon. Her phone rang. She looked at the screen. Unknown number. She answered, annoyed. Yes. Her face changed. The color drained away. What? No, that cannot be right. There must be a mistake. I walked away slowly, leaving her in the kitchen. I went to my room. Closed the door. I sat on the bed. And I waited. I waited for her world to start crumbling. 10 minutes passed. 15. Then I heard fast footsteps. The front door opened. Marcus was home. Rita ran to him. Her voice was shrill. Michael, you have to call the bank now. They said all our accounts are frozen. All of them. What? Marcus sounded confused. That is impossible. It is not a mistake, Rita screamed. I just talked to the manager. He said there is a legal order. Someone started a legal proceeding. Marcus, what is going on? Silence. Heavy silence. Then Marcus on the phone. Yes, this is Marcus Hayes. What is happening with my accounts? What do you mean frozen? On whose order? Was Eleanor Hayes. But that is my mother. What does she have to do with this? Another pause. What do you mean the apartment is in her name? That cannot be. We live here. We pay for everything. Another pause. What do you mean it was never in our name? I stood up. Opened my door. I walked into the hallway. Marcus was in the living room, pale, phone in his hand. Rita was next to him, eyes wide with panic. They both stared at me. What did you do? Marcus whispered. I looked at him without blinking. I did what I had to do, I said calmly. I protected myself. Rita took a step toward me. You are crazy. You cannot do this. Course I can, I replied. This apartment is mine. It always was. The accounts are in my name. They always were. You just assumed I was a foolish old woman who did not know anything. But you were wrong. Marcus shook his head. Well, this is not happening. Yes, it is, I said. Called my lawyer. I started the legal process. I froze the accounts. And now comes the best part. Eviction. You have 30 days to leave. My place. Rita let out a hysterical laugh. You are insane. We are not leaving. You have no right. I have every right, I said coldly. And if you do not leave peacefully, the police will remove you by force. Marcus sank onto the couch. He covered his face with his hands. Say something, Marcus, Rita said. Do something. But Marcus said nothing. Because he finally understood. He understood that he had underestimated the woman who gave him life. And now he was going to pay. Rita could not stand still. She paced the living room like a trapped animal. Marcus stayed on the couch, head in his hands. I stood in the hallway watching them. This cannot be legal, Rita said suddenly, spinning toward me. There has to be something we can do. You can try, I said. But it will cost you. I hired the best lawyer in the city. Everything is in order. Everything is legal. Everything is documented. She clenched her fists. You are a snake. All this time pretending to be helpless. And you are a manipulator. I took a step closer. A manipulator. I repeated. Because I protected what is mine. You used me. You humiliated me. You treated me like garbage. And now that you know I am not stupid, I am the bad guy. How convenient. Marcus finally lifted his head. Mom, he whispered. How could you? I am your son. I looked at him. Exactly. You are my son. And you still treated me worse than a dog. You threw me out. You threw my clothes in the hallway. You locked the door in my face. So do not ask me how I could. Ask yourself how you could. He looked down. He had no answer. Rita pulled out her phone. I am calling my father. He knows lawyers. We will fight this. Go ahead, I said. But I am warning you. Every day you stay here after the deadline will cost you $500 per day. That is what the eviction order says. Rita stopped dialing. $500 a day, I repeated. Multiply that by 30 days. By 60. By 90. How long can you afford that with frozen accounts? She opened her mouth but no words came out. Marcus stood up. Mom, please. There has to be another way. We can talk. Now you want to talk. Yes. Now that it is convenient. Now that you need me. But when I needed you, where were you? You were letting Rita destroy me. No, Marcus. It is too late. Far too late. I turned and went back to my room. Behind me I heard Rita crying. I heard Marcus trying to calm her. I heard chaos and panic and desperation. Closed my door. I sat on my bed. And for the first time in months I felt peace. Cold peace, but peace. I was not scared anymore. I did not feel small. I was not the victim. Now they were. I did not have dinner with them that night. I stayed in my room. I heard them arguing late into the night. I heard Rita crying. I heard Marcus making call after call, looking for help. But there was none. I had made sure of that. I had worked with David for weeks. We closed every door. There was no escape. The next morning I got up early. I made coffee. I sat in the kitchen. Marcus appeared with dark circles under his eyes. He had not slept. He sat across from me. We were silent for a long time. When did you plan this? He finally asked. From the beginning, I answered. From the day I moved in. He looked confused. But you wanted to come. He nodded. Yes. I wanted to come because I was lonely. Because I had just lost your father. Because I thought my son loved me. But I was not naive. I put everything in my name just in case. And look, things went wrong. Worse than I imagined. Marcus closed his eyes. I did not want it to be like this. Rita was pressuring me. You just obeyed, I said. You just let her treat me like garbage. You just kicked me out of my own house. Because yes, even though you did not know it, this was always my apartment. Not yours. Not Rita's. Tears ran down his face. Forgive me, Mom. Please. I looked at him for a long time. Cannot forgive you, I said. Not now. Maybe someday. But not now. The damage is done. Are you really going to kick us out? He asked. Yes, I said. Because if I do not, you will never learn. You will never understand that actions have consequences. So yes, Marcus. You are going to have to find another place. You are going to have to start from scratch like I had to when your father died. Now it is your turn. Rita came into the kitchen. She was disheveled. Swollen. Did you beg her already, Marcus? She asked. How pathetic. Rita walked toward me. Listen, you old woman. This is not over. I will fight this. I will prove you are incompetent. I will put you in a nursing home. Smiled. Try it. But I have proof. Recordings. Messages. Witnesses. Every insult. Every humiliation. Everything documented. So go ahead, Rita. Why? But you will lose. And when you lose, you will not just lose the apartment. You will lose everything. Rita turned pale. Marcus grabbed her arm. Let it go, Rita. We have lost. You are giving up, he said. He nodded. There is nothing to do. She has everything. We have nothing. Rita looked at me one last time. Her eyes were full of hate but also fear. Because she finally understood. I was not the victim. I never was. I was the one with the power. The following days were strange. Marcus and Rita moved through the apartment like ghosts. They avoided me. But I felt their stares. I felt their whispers. I felt their panic growing. And I felt no pity. Tuesday morning Marcus left early. Rita stayed in the bedroom all day. I made phone calls. I spoke with David. Everything was moving forward. The eviction order would arrive in less than a week. That afternoon the doorbell rang. Courier with an envelope. I signed for it. Inside was the official eviction notice. 25 days starting today. I walked to their room. I knocked. No one answered. I knocked again. What do you want? Rita's voice from inside. I have something for you, I said. The door opened. Rita stood there, hair a mess, eyes red. She looked at me with contempt. I held out the envelope. Rita snatched it. She read it. Her face went from anger to panic. 25 days, she whispered. This cannot be real. It is very real, I said. And when the deadline comes, if you are still here, the police will remove you. Marcus appeared. He took the document. His face fell. Mom, we cannot find a place in 25 days. We have no money. That is not my problem, I said. You gave me 2 weeks. I am giving you 25 days. I am being more generous than you were. We cannot, he said. Then call family. Call friends. Call anyone. Because the clock is ticking. I turned and walked away. Behind me the door slammed. I heard yelling, crying, accusations. They blamed each other. They blamed me. But they did not blame themselves. That night I went for a walk. I needed air. I went to the park. I sat on my favorite bench. The same one where I used to cry when this all started. But I was not crying now. Now I looked at the dark sky and felt power. Control. My life belonged to me again. Someone sat next to me. It was Sharon, my neighbor. A woman in her 60s with gray hair and a kind smile. We had become friends. She had witnessed my suffering. "Eleanor," she said softly. "How are you?" Smiled. "I'm okay, Sharon. Better than I have been in a long time." She nodded. "I heard what happened. You did the right thing. They treated you horribly. This is justice." "Thank you," I said. "Sometimes I feel like I was too harsh." She shook her head. "Well, you gave them enough chances. Every day you endured was a chance. They did not take it. Do not feel guilty. You are strong." Her words comforted me. They reminded me why I did this. They reminded me I was not alone. I went back to the apartment an hour later. Marcus was on the couch with a laptop. He was looking for apartments. They were all too expensive. They all needed deposits he could not pay. I watched him from the hallway. He looked defeated. Nothing like the man who screamed at me days ago. Now he was the one with no way out. Jessica came out of the bedroom. She saw me. We looked at each other. "You are waiting for us to be humiliated," she said. "You want us on the street." I did not answer. I just looked at her. She took a step closer. Her voice softened. "Please, Eleanor. I am begging you. Do not do this. Give Marcus another chance. He is your son." "This is not pride," I said. "This is dignity. This is respect. This is what I should have done after the first insult." "No. I am not stopping. If I do, you will never learn." Rita opened her mouth. But she said nothing. There was nothing to say. I went to my room. Closed the door. I lay on the bed. I stared at the ceiling. I thought about what would happen next. When Marcus and Rita left, I would leave too. This apartment was full of bitter memories. I would sell it. Buy something smaller. Something quiet. Something that was just mine. And I would start over. But this time on my terms. The days passed slowly. Every morning I crossed off a date on my calendar. 23 days. 22 days. 51. Time was running out and they were still here. Growing more desperate. I watched them from a distance. I saw them making calls. Arguing. Crying. And even though guilt twisted inside me sometimes, I did not give in. This was not just about me. This was for every woman who stays silent. For every mother who endures. For every person who lets others walk all over them. I had discovered my power and I was not letting it go. One afternoon Marcus approached me in the kitchen. He was holding a folder. "Mom, I need to talk to you." He opened it. He took out papers. Apartment listings. All small. All in distant neighborhoods. "If we sell the car and pawn some things, we can get $3,000. We can rent something with that. But I need you to unfreeze one account. Just one. So we can make deposits. Please." I looked at the papers. Marcus had tried. For the first time he was actually trying. "I will think about it," I said. "But if I do, it will be with conditions. And if Rita keeps fighting, the deal is off." "Understood." He nodded quickly. "Thank you, Mom." He hurried away like he was afraid I would change my mind. That night I called David. I told him about Marcus's proposal. "Eleanor," David said, "you can do whatever you want. But be careful. If you unfreeze an account and they use it to hire a lawyer, it could complicate things." Thought about it. "I'm going to unfreeze one small account. $5,000. Enough for them to rent a place. But only if they sign a document agreeing to leave voluntarily and giving up all future claims." David laughed. "You are tough, Eleanor. But smart. I will prepare that document tomorrow." The next afternoon David arrived with the document. Marcus and Rita were in the living room. They tensed when they saw the lawyer. "Good afternoon," David said. "I am David Chen, Mrs. Hayes's attorney. I have a proposal. If you sign this document agreeing to vacate voluntarily and waive all claims, Mrs. Hayes will unfreeze an account with $5,000. If you do not sign, the eviction continues and there will be no help. Rita stood up. This is blackmail. We are not signing. It is not blackmail, David said. It is an offer. You can refuse. But without money and with frozen accounts, your options are limited. Marcus looked at the document, then at me. You would really do this? You would give us money if we sign? He nodded. Because even though I am angry, I do not want to see you on the street. I want you to leave and learn. But I do not want to destroy you completely. Yes, if you sign, I will unfreeze the account. Rita shook her head. Oh, this is humiliating. Marcus grabbed her arm. Rita, stop. We cannot fight. This is the best offer we will get. You are okay with this? He said. He sighed. It is not humiliation. It is a consequence of what we did. If we do not accept, we will end up worse. Please, just sign. Rita stared at him, then at the document, then at me. Finally, with a shaking hand, she took the pen. Just sign. Marcus signed after her. Perfect, David said. You have 15 days to leave voluntarily. Mrs. Hayes will unfreeze the account tomorrow. David left. Silence filled the room. Thank you, Mom, Marcus said quietly. I know we do not deserve this. I did not answer. I just nodded and went to my room. It was done. In 15 days they would be gone. And I would be free. The next few days were quieter. Marcus spent all his time looking for apartments, organizing the move, selling things. Rita stayed locked in the bedroom. When she came out, she avoided my eyes. We did not talk. We lived in parallel worlds. And that was easier. One morning Rita came into the kitchen. She stood by the door. Then in a low voice she spoke. I never thought it would come to this. I looked at her. Neither did I. She nodded. I know I treated you badly. I know I was cruel. And I know nothing I say changes that. But I want you to know it was not personal. I just felt invaded. Felt like I had no space. Instead of talking, I attacked. And that was wrong. I looked at her for a long moment. It was not a full apology. But it was something. Thank you for saying that, I said. But it does not change anything. The damage is done. Cannot forgive it. Not now. Maybe never. She nodded. Understand. She left the kitchen. I was alone with my thoughts. Maybe someday I could forgive. Maybe with time. Maybe never. But I would never forget. That memory would be my shield. Moving day came fast. There was a truck outside. 2 men carrying boxes. Marcus coordinating. Rita supervising. I stayed in my room most of the time. But every so often I came out and saw the apartment emptying. Furniture disappearing. Walls becoming bare. I felt relief and melancholy. Relief that it was ending. Sadness that my relationship with my son was ending too. Around midday Marcus knocked on my door. Opened it. He was holding a box. Mom, these are yours. The photos you found in the trash. Save them. I thought you would want them. Took the box. Inside were the photos of Robert, of Marcus as a child, of our family when we were happy. Thank you, I said, my voice breaking. Marcus stood there like he wanted to say more. Finally he spoke. I know I ruined everything. I know I was not the son you deserved. And I know I can probably never fix it. But I want you to know I am sorry. Truly sorry. And I want you to know I am going to try to be better. Not for you because I lost that right. But for me. Because I do not want to be this man. I looked at him. There were real tears there. I hope you do, I said. Hope you learn. Hope you grow. But that is not up to me. It is up to you. He nodded. No. He turned to leave. Before he did, he stopped. I love you, Mom. Have always loved you. Even though I ruined everything. Love you. He closed the door. I was alone with the box of photos. The tears finally came. I cried for what was. For what could have been. For what would never be. But I also cried with relief. 'Cause I was finally free. Half an hour later I heard the truck engine. I looked out the window. It disappeared around the corner. Marcus and Rita were gone. The apartment was empty. Silent. I walked through the rooms. Into the living room. It was deserted. Only marks on the floor where furniture had been. I sat on the floor in the middle of the empty room. And I took a deep breath. It was mine again. Everything was mine. My space. My peace. My life. That night Sharon came over with wine and 2 glasses. We sat on the floor. We made a toast. To you, Eleanor, she said. To your courage. We clinked glasses. We drank. And I smiled. A real smile. What are you going to do now? Sharon asked. Shrugged. Maybe sell this place. Move somewhere smaller. Maybe travel. Maybe just rest. I do not know. But I am going to live. Live for me. Without sacrificing myself. Without letting anyone walk over me. Without forgetting this lesson. Sharon nodded. Sounds perfect. And when you need company, I will be here. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for being here. We stayed there drinking wine, talking about life, about plans, about dreams. And I realized I was not alone. I had never been alone. I had just been blind. Family is not always blood. Sometimes family is the people you choose. I spent the next few days cleaning the apartment, patching walls, painting, making it feel like home again. Sharon helped. She brought plants, new curtains, life. And little by little the apartment transformed. It was no longer the place where I suffered. Now it was a space full of possibilities. One afternoon while I was painting, the phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Mrs. Hayes, this is David Chen. Have news. Marcus and Rita tried to open a new bank account, but the credit check showed they have debts. Hidden debts. Rita took out loans in both their names without Marcus knowing. Now they are in trouble. They owe around $20,000. With no income they will have problems. Closed my eyes. How much trouble? They will probably end up in collections. Maybe lawsuits. Thank you for telling me.